So the last time it happened was it in 2006? Hold on, I'm going to tell you real quick right now. I'm going to tell you real quick. Now, on August the 19th, 2017, up in Lincoln, Nebraska, on ESPN, which I expect for it to be big ratings, Terence Crawford is going to be taking on Julius Indongo. Terence Crawford is the WBC, the WBO, and the Ring Magazine 140-pound champion. It is heavily rumored, and he's also talked about it himself, saying that, if he wins, he's going to 147 pounds. Julius Indongo is likely going to reign at 140 pounds, meaning he's going to stay at 140 pounds if he wins. He's the WBA Super World and the IBF. And is he the IBO too? IBO. Let me check real quick. I'll get back to that in later on in the video. So basically, these guys are fighting for all 4 belts. The last time this happened was in 2005. 2005, when Jermaine Taylor beat Bernard Hopkins. So that was 17 years ago. 17 years, and basically it'll be 17 years and a month since we had our last undisputed champion. Now, to be undisputed in this era, right? At one point in time, Muhammad Ali was undisputed. But that's because, if you don't know, the WBA is the oldest of the boxing sanctioning bodies, the recognized one, even though they be on some bullshit than the WBC. But at one point in time, to have the WBC and the WBA, you were considered undisputed. Fast forward to have the WBC, the WBO, the IBF, and the IBO, you were considered to be undisputed. The IBF was kind of iffy. But if you had that WBC, that WBO, no, the WBC, the WBA, and the IBF, you were undisputed. In this era, you have to have all 4 to be undisputed. That's the WBA, the WBC, the IBF, and the WBO. If you have that IBO, it's like, okay. If you have that ring, if you have all the belts, then you definitely should have that ring, magazine title. So to have 2 fighters, to witness this history, which it is, it's history, it's like, oh shit, this is a big ass fight. Like Terence Crawford could be undisputed champion. You know how crazy that sounds? And the thing is, it's not like he can be undisputed champion of like maneuvering and all that shit. Really, in the 140-pound division, I don't see nobody that can beat him. I'm Teacher Controversy. This is Teacher Controversy Live. I cover every single major fight live. All the links to my social media are right down below in the description box. Now, here's the thing, right? Julius Indongo was still learning who he is as a fighter, but he's no fluke. Now, when he won, that IBF title against Troyanovsky, that was at the end of 2016. It was a first-round knockout. People thought he was a fluke. He fought Ricky Burns, completely outschooled, outboxed, Ricky Burns, even though people still don't know where to, rank Ricky Burns as a fighter, especially at 140 pounds. But either way, those are 2 solid wins right there. And now he's fighting Terence Crawford. And it's like, can he do something that we haven't seen done to Terence Crawford before? For example, Julius Indongo is not known, even though he had that first-round stoppage, he's not known to be a knockout fighter. Power puncher. Oh my God! I did this video at the wrong time. They're doing the. I'm watching Showtime All Access in the background, so I had to pause it on the DVR. So listen, it's like this, right? He's 22-0 with 11 KOs, but will he have power to keep Terence Crawford off of him? He does have the height, but he doesn't usually not known to fight tall. I'm really interested to see what type of style he's going to fight against Terence Crawford, who can fight you right-handed and southpaw. But majority of his last several fights, he's been fighting southpaw. And guess what? Julius Indongo is a southpaw. So Terence Crawford is 31-0 with 22 KOs. And looking at his resume, people thought Félix Díaz was going to give him some problems, and he just made him look stupid. John Molina, it's like, but that John Molina fight meant something because It was supposed to be Ruslan Provodnikov. If Ruslan Provodnikov would have had won, but John Molina beat Ruslan Provodnikov. The Viktor Postol fight was on pay-per-view. Bob Arum was really pissed about that, and that pretty much, you know, added more fuel to the flame of now top-ranked fighters being gone from HBO. So if you don't know, top-ranked fighters are fighting on ESPN, no longer on HBO because of HBO budget issues. He fought Hank Lundy. Hank Lundy still talking shit. He fought Dierry Jean. Thomas Dulorme is fighting. He fought Thomas Dulorme in 2015, April of 2014. Thomas Dulorme is fighting Sean Porter on the Mayweather-McGregor free card. Ray Beltran, you know, he fought him. Remember that? Yuriorkis Gamboa. Yuriorkis Gamboa was hitting with some tough shots. Ricky Burns. So if you look at his resume, you know, those are some solid, nice names on there. If you look at it pound for pound, at that point in time in the division, you know, it's crazy. So now moving to 147, you know what a dream fight is? Terence Crawford, Errol Spence. So, you know, it's you know, even though, you know, I like Julius Indongo, he seemed like a cool dude and everything, but, you know, like, you gotta go, you know, smart money says Terence Crawford. But also, you can't overlook Julius Indongo. You can't overlook him. But smart money says Terence Crawford. And if Terence Crawford goes to 147, you know, if he wins, my God, that's crazy. And then not to mention, if he goes to 147, he'll likely be made the mandatory, you know, for anybody at 147 pounds. Of course, you may think, well, they're just going to feed him to Jeff Horn. I mean, feed Jeff Horn to him if Jeff Horn beats Pacquiao again. You know, but then again, if you look at like the WBC may say, hey, shit, we're going to make him and Sean Porter fight each other, even though Sean Porter should be the mandatory. You know, look at the IBF, that's Errol Spence. You know, look at the WBA, that's Keith Thurman. So, you know, we got some, you know, 2018, 2019 is really shaping up to be real nice at 147 pounds, especially since a lot of those fighters at 147 won't fare so well or not big enough for 154. You see what I'm saying? So it's not like they can just leave the division and go higher. You know, I don't see Keith Thurman being, you know, I don't see Keith Thurman being a 154 pounder. I don't see Danny Garcia being a 154 pounder. Maybe Errol Spence, yeah. But the 147 pound division is deep. Even Terence Crawford versus Sean Porter would be crazy. And remember, Bob Arum and Al Heyman work together, but will those Heyman fighters come over to that ESPN platform? You know? And also, the undercard has a lot of nice names on it, even though these names are in showcase fights. Guys like Alexander Grosdick, you know, Mike Reed, Nicholas Walters returns, right? You got Mike Alvarado who's returning. Dylan White making a stateside debut. You got Brian Jennings on the card, you know, who just recently signed with Top Rank. You know, Shakira Stevens. So, you know, the card's going to be crazy. Also, you're going to be able to watch the card not only on ESPN if they don't have no bullshit that's like, you know, like the NFL Hall of Fame. I'm not saying it's bullshit, but hopefully the card starts on time on ESPN like it's supposed to. But for these undercard fights, you'll be able to see them on, I believe it's ESPN3, which is the app. So if you don't have, I mean, if you have ESPN, then you have ESPN3. You'll be able to watch it on your Xbox, your PlayStation, you know, or even on your smart TV or on your phone. You know, so I'm highly looking forward to this fight. And more importantly, I'm looking forward to the path the winner is going, you know, to take. Also, let's not forget that, you know, people don't talk about it, but an Al Heyman fighter, whether it was him or his fighter, tried to stop this fight, Sergey Lipinets, because he's the IBF mandatory. So they didn't want this fight. Like, it was talks that Julius Indongo was only going to be defending his WBA title and may have to drop the IBF title. But I'm sure Bob Arum wasn't having that. Especially, you know, it would have been bad for the sanctioning bodies to not allow a unification or, you know, an undisputed fight to happen by listening to Sergey Lipinets. So I can hear where he's coming from and saying, like, hold up, like, I should be next in line. But you can't interfere with history like that, bro. You know? So whoever wins this fight, if they stay at 140, they got a host of mandatories coming that way, because when you got all the belts, you know, you got mandatories. And in this day and age of social media, this is not like it was in 2006 and all that shit, you know. In this day and age of social media, we know, the fans and the media, we know who your mandatories are. And they're going to bitch and complain if you try to duck them. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, it is what it is. On Tissue Controversy, this is Tissue Controversy Live. I cover every single major fight live. Please subscribe.